Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back. I hope your spring break was nice, restful. I know a lot of you worked during the entire darn thing, and I know this because I kept getting your emails every time you submitted. So we've got a lot of people who have now finished homework 7. We have some people who in the feedback told me homework 7 was too easy. So now I'm debating what to do with it next year, and whether it should get more features or test cases or harder ones, or maybe if we moved it to 1 week, we could fit in another homework 10. Okay, not sure what we would cover. Maybe we'd actually make an editor for our engines. That would be nice, right? Yeah, I'm glad you're back. Nothing's going to change for this semester, so don't worry too much. I'm working on homework 9. This is our particle system. The beginning of it, anyway, it emits particles. It emits a lot of them. It can emit them with gravity. It can emit them with images. It can do other fancy things that I haven't programmed yet, and that you will have to. I don't think it's going to be a very hard assignment. I think it's going to be pretty easy. Particle systems are a very useful part of an engine, and so I think you'll be happy to have it. Another thing, and this is a very small thing, I kind of like the engine. Making these test cases for you. This year's C3, test case C3 for homework 7 is a big one. It's actually kind of looks like a game, believe it or not. And so there's now a website dedicated to the actual reference engine for this course. So in the event that you ever find yourself bored of Unity, not caring about Godot, want something a little bit simpler for your next game jam, you can get yourself a copy of it right here. And I'm going to work on documentation. One of the reasons I wanted to do this is because we don't have any good place for documentation. Do you remember all the parameters that go into the image.drawX function? Well, if you don't, then that's going to be a problem if you want to use the engine for something, useful. And so we need actually a place where we can get the references, where we can get the APIs, we can get usage examples, stuff like that. And we don't have it. You know what our best reference is right now? The homework 7 assignment spec. Okay? And I don't want to look at this thing every time I want to just build something small, build a new test case, or build a tiny little game. I'll tell you, I can't remember if I've got it or not. If you haven't seen the C3 test case for homework 7, it's going to look a little familiar to you. Except it's kind of like homework 5, but I went overboard, got bored. So now we've got a whole intro cutscene and transitions. And we've got text that like reads in. And we've even got vocals and stuff. And it's got like a story. And like, yeah. And you can like manipulate the camera and zoom in and zoom out. And you can walk around and yeah. It's like homework 5, but souped up. So anyway, now my goal is to like add a ton of levels to this and make it an actual game. And then I have to order stickers for those of you who can beat it. So it's going to get expensive fast, I think. Yeah, anyway. If it weren't in such a small window, you'd swear this is an actual game. Okay. And speaking on that topic, what is the point of today's lecture? Well, if you look at where we are, we've spent enough time talking about Lua. And we've spent a lot of time talking about Lua integration. And now, I think we should finally do the thing that we've been kind of waiting all semester to do. Today, we're actually going to use our engine to make a game. Now, you're not going to believe me when it do it, but it can do it, okay? The thing we've been making can actually make games now. And I want to prove it to you. I want to make a game with you today in our own engine, in Lua, And I want to make sure you have a good understanding of how a game is put together, how it is organized in our engine. Because we got a lot of students going through Homework 7, and they don't understand why they're building the things that they are. That makes all of Homework 7 a lot harder. And for those of you who haven't gotten to Homework 7 or haven't finished it, I hope our lecture today is really going to make things a lot more clear. Why do I need to implement get component? What are components about anyway? Okay? And so we're going to do that together. But not before we take a look at a rather famous engine. This is actually an engine we're going to experience together. It's an engine called Roblox. Now, I've got a game here called Shrek in the Backrooms. Now, I guess I did play this a year ago. Oh, I played Crash Bandicoot in the Fute of the Fruit. I have no idea what Fute is, but I want to play this Roblox game. So you see, Roblox is partially an online platform. I have made an account called Super Supium, and I can check out all these games. This one's been favorited 2,000 times, so you know it's good. And when I click the play button, what it's going to do is it's going to try and install Roblox locally. I guess I don't have all the latest updates. And then it's going to tell an application on my computer to run and download a particular game. And so this is kind of a hybrid desktop application and web application. And here I am. I'm in the level 1 Wumpa Valley. And I don't know how to rotate. Oh, I have to right-click to rotate my camera, I guess. Okay, this is Crash Bandicoot 5. And I can jump on my Crash Bandicoot house, stare at my Crash Bandicoot teeth.
Man, times are rough for noise.
I feel like someone should have taken EECS 298. We can go inside his head, I think, and see his smile. Anyway, I can see the seams in my skybox. So this is just the kind of, and all of these things actually make me more excited for what I'm about to play, not less. Okay, how do I talk to you?
What?
I must have come from the... Okay, all right.
And this is why you provide controls.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Okay. Hut. Whoa. Oh. Okay. Bear causes crash. Just touch one of the... Yes, that one. Now touch. Oh, what's the...
I think some of the explanation sets it.
Oh, yeah, that's not what we... Oh? Oh, what? I lost a leg, and then a few moments later, I exploded. Okay, hold on a second. I want to get to the part where you get the gun.
Crash Bandicoot 100.
I wish I could show you the interesting online multiplayer features of this engine. Last semester, we spent an entire lecture and we actually built a Roblox game together. We're not going to do that this time. Sorry. Corbin, you know Corbin Reeves? He's a new faculty. I told Corbin Reeves he should make a Roblox programming course in the Entrepreneurship Center for Entrepreneurship. So take that if you get a chance. Yeah. What do you want? It's Wumpa fruit. It doesn't do anything in this game.
Wumpa.
It's no life system. Sad. Okay. Okay. What does this dirt do? Oh, you just fall through it. Okay.
Sand here. Oh, it's just that.
It looked solid to me. I don't know.
Average dark.
What are these checkpoints? That was awful. Okay. Yeah, I thought there used to be music. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it broke. Level 2, the shortcut. Oh, Beaver. Sorry, pal, the bridge is closed.
Beg for mercy.
They removed all their music due to rights disputes, so any imported music.
Oh yeah.
They were.
Oh.
Are you telling me these people had some copyright problems? Can I jump down there from here? Can I do it?
Probably.
I think we should try.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Did I miss the gun though?
Possibly.
Okay. I grew up with games way harder than this. Papu's? Something. No worries, I'll simply distract him while you get something.
Here's where the gun is.
Is that the shortcut? I think I just shortcutted it. Oh, he's up there. Okay, dude. Oh, what the? Hi. Anyone play I Want to Be the Guy? No? You gotta look that game up and you'll understand how I have these skills, you know? Okay, you're not supposed to. Nitro Beach. I just want the gun, and then we'll end. Oh. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Oh my god.
No! No! I survived. He's got a gun. Oh, he gets the gun. Go on, Crash. Move. Raise eyebrow. Fires gun. Now. Ruse Temple. I've never been this far. Is there going to be a boss fight?
Roblox here. Boom, boom.
Hoi, hoi. What?
What? You got exploded.
What?
I think Rue shot you.
Rue shot me. All right, that's it. I do want to show you. I want to show you a multiplayer game. I want to show you a popular game. What are the charts? What's the most popular game? Dead Rails. Dead Rails. Should we do it? I want to play Dead Rails. I don't even know what this is, but there's going to be other players, I think. This is Roblox has a lot of guidance that's like you start the game and there are tons of signs in your face. They need to take 494 so they know it's not a good idea. How do I play it? Waiting for players. Oh, that person wants to play. Yeah! We need one more. It's like this loser. They don't want to play with me. I'm gonna jump over into their space. No! Huh! Oh!
What? They're alone.
What?
When you enter one of the things, there's like a countdown that happens, and if you're the only one in it when the countdown finishes.
No! I specifically wanted to play with other people. Drag gold bar to the table and sell it? No, I don't wanna. Just wanna get on the train.
It's dangerous to go out alone without the train.
Welcome to Mexico.
This is regular.
Oh, in 80 kilometers. We're in Texas. Or California, maybe. I don't know.
So we're in Roma, Texas.
Okay, so I think you've gotten like the feel for Roblox. So like it's so inconsistent, and that's I think a part of its appeal, right? You never know what you're gonna get. You won't probably get something polished. Even the most popular games don't have much polish, but you do if you are making Roblox games. You do get a lot of things. This is a Lua-based engine, and in particular, it's a multiplayer-first Lua-based engine. So you get a lot of these multiplayer features for free. You don't have to do any server synchronization code. You don't have to worry about that stuff. And so it makes it really easy to make multiplayer experiences that you can go play and hang out with friends after school and that kind of stuff. Okay, this is really I think kind of lame. Close. Okay, and but you can see its appeal. It kind of initially launched in 2006. It launched and it was called Dynablocks, but it really didn't take off until about a decade later, in 2015, when it started to explode. They are a very good example of releasing something but not giving up right away. So you continue to iterate it, you keep yourself alive, you keep your costs low as a company, and eventually you can start to gain traction, and eventually you blow up once you figure out what people really want and how to reach them. The market cap of Roblox, let's see, $35 billion. So good job to that particular team. I will say that things have not been super rosy lately, but they're not at their peak, but they're also not struggling in the same way that other companies like Unity currently are. It runs on most platforms by default. There is a desktop version, a browser version, a mobile version, a game console version, so anyone can play. And has a very, very young audience. When it first came out, I took one look at it and I said, this is Gmod for kids. Basically, after playing that Crash Bandicoot game, right, you kind of get a feel for it, right? It is very vulnerable to controversy and problems as a result of its particular demographic, its biggest demographic being kids, right? A very, very vulnerable consumer base. You had better not take advantage of them, or you're going to get a lot of headlines. You'd better keep them safe, or you're going to get a lot of nasty headlines. There have been some very big controversies that Roblox stumbled into. What is this one called? The Roblox Controversies Iceberg Explained. 2.1 million views, so it resonated with a lot of people. And it's free commercial. The Quackity raid, forums removal, PewDiePie ban, the Trump hacking incidents, bans for saying words, Lobo, account limiting, BC only places, Devo lawsuit, Forum 34, that doesn't sound good. May 2021 refund lawsuits, and it's just going deeper from there. So this is to say there's a lot you can learn and a lot of fun I guess you can have at Roblox's expense. It is an engine that has seen some shit, okay? Roblox allows you to monetize. There are some very big developers who only make games on Roblox. One of the reason my colleague Corbin Reeves wants to create a Roblox dedicated a Roblox dedicated course at the University of Michigan and in the entrepreneurial college is that one way you can get away from the endless competition of itch.io and Steam is by dedicating your skills to a more niche platform like Roblox, which doesn't have as much competition, where the competition is not very polished, right? And so if you've got good game development skills, Roblox might be a place you can actually do pretty well. But Roblox, the company, is going to take a 70% cut of all of your earnings. A 70% cut. You know what the industry standard is for platforms such as Steam? The App Stores, Steam, Google Play Store, it's all 30, okay? Because remember, the platform is going to take their cut, but then your federal, local, and city government is going to take their cuts as well. So you can very easily end up with about 5% of the total value of the thing you made as the creator, and that really stinks. So that's been a big source of controversy. But it is online multiplayer by default. And so when you create your own Roblox game, it will provide you a lot of online services for free. You can very quickly get your friends and family running around and jumping around with some default characters. And it's pretty charming, okay? The scripting language is Lua. It has component source very similar to that of Godot. You create what's called a part, okay? A part is kind of an actor, and then you create more parts which can act as scripts that you attach to the first part. And so you've got kind of an actor component system set up, but it's very recursive and elegant, kind of like Godot. In any case, it has an all-in-one integrated editor, so you'll get an experience kind of sort of similar to that of Godot or Unity if you go and make a Roblox game. Okay, I think the last thing I'll show to you is like, oh yes, this trailer. Oh, by the way, here's what the editor looks like. Okay, it's a little bit different. But you've still got that kind of explore assets menu. You've got a property menu, so your hierarchy view. On the left, you've got an output view. They didn't put it on the bottom. They put it on the left to be unique, I suppose. And last thing I'm going to show you is the trailer for modern Roblox. This is modern Roblox. This is the 2020 hype trailer. In other words, Roblox is trying to evolve and allow you to make whatever game you want to make. And not be stuck to the basic Lego style stuff for too long. So let's go ahead and take a look. When the metaverse was a very big idea a year or two ago, Roblox was one of those companies that was in the running, right? We want you to live your whole life in a metaverse, our metaverse, Roblox. If I'm Roblox right now, did you kind of notice how it was switching between kind of kidsy, cartoony looking games and more realistic looking games? They had a like renders like this. This does not look like your typical Roblox, right? This looks like a much more serious indie game in the quality of its aesthetics, in its more serious tone and vibe. If I am the Roblox Corporation, I am nervous that I can only sell to children, okay? Because that is a very risky group to sell to that you might not be allowed to sell to forever. Regulation could come down. And it is also kind of a fickle group to sell to, right? Kids are always moving on to the next thing. And who knows when you will get wrecked if they move on. So if I'm Roblox, I am looking to create a platform that will soon create the next big indie game. Why was Animal Well not created in Roblox? The next big indie game to go viral, I want to make sure it's made in Roblox, okay, and not just made in Unity and posted to itch.io. And so you can see them trying to figure that out. And maybe they will, or maybe they will fail. Who knows? But anyway, Roblox, a very important engine and platform these days, and something that is very interesting to think about and learn about. Plenty of controversy to discover if you want to go down that iceberg, okay? Anyone have any comments on Roblox? Does anyone grow up playing Roblox? Yeah, Roblox was not a thing when I was really growing up. It did exist, but it was not big yet. It wasn't well known yet. Yeah.
My sister refuses flat out to play video games and then doesn't even think about it when she's playing Roblox.
Yeah.
She's 5 years younger.
Yeah, well, it's like, is Roblox a game or is it just another social meetup place after school, right? People play mobile games all the time, but don't make the connection that they're gamers now. Yes?
Roblox also, one of the things on payment is that it actually pays developers in the virtual currency Robux. You have to jump through an additional hoop
To get it out?
Robux back into dollars. And I'm pretty sure they take another cut there.
Serious?
Have you not heard of
That's a good business. We need how do we get us a slice of this business? Goodness.
Buy some stock.
What if we made an engine that was also like kind of a platform, and like we had our own virtual country? That's what Homeworks 10 is going to be. Virtual currency. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Our engine, Homework 10 is launching your own blockchain currency and integrating it. Our engines are going to be powered by the blockchain.
That's the way it should.
It's
Make,
AI.
you make your own like meme coin as well, just to, like get it going off the rail.
Yeah. I don't know how much I don't
Rug pull your own crypto.
yeah, I don't know if my contract would be renewed if I added blockchain 2 years late after it's a bad word. Okay. Okay. So okay. So before we get into our main topic, how's Homework 7 going? I'm very curious.
Frustrating.
Frustrating. What's so frustrating about it?
I'm getting things that I don't understand why I'm getting them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's just life. Yes.
Yeah, everything was going great. Everything was correct until the last Linux test case.
Oh,
With like
Yeah.
just 1 frame of difference.
1 frame of
And
difference.
it's- I
Yeah.
have no idea how to fix it.
Yeah. In the past, the 1 frame of difference is definitely what gets you on the C1, C0, C1, C2, and C3 test case. C3 test case is evil. It is a long, actually, like it's the game I showed you a few moments ago with Spot and the security guards. And usually what's happening is there's a bug. We saw this once. There's a bug related to you accidentally not spawning things or running a component on the frame it needs to be run. So that is the thing to look at. In any case, we can look into that. C3, kind of a nasty test case. I might either update the spec or remove it if we discover your case is warrants that. But let's look at that during office hours, okay? Okay. Anyway, yeah, I hope at the very least your engine now feels like a legit big engine. Maybe not big, but it now is expressive enough to actually make kind of any game under the sun that we want, so long as it can be represented by 2D. And if you are dedicated enough, you can now use the draw pixel function to implement your own 3D rendering if you want. If any of you have taken the 3D graphics, generative graphics course, okay, then you can do it. It's going to be very slow, but you can do it, okay? So anyway, what I'd like to eventually do is I'd like to have all of your finished customized engines at the end of the semester. I'd like to, during the final assignment, the very final one, you fill out a Google form to give me access, spreadsheet database that links to your page. You give the image for your engine, the logo, you give the title, you give the portfolio page, and you give the GitHub for your engine. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have A2 engine just be a big, nice database of every other student engine that's ever been made based on it. And so everyone can, in the future, enjoy your engine until the servers at AWS go down, okay? And I think that'd be really cool. We're going to have an API reference for Lua scripts. That should make it easier to develop your own games. We just don't have time to have you develop your own games. I would love to have an assignment where we just settle down and we say, hey, now that you've got an engine, let's get more comfy with how your own engine works. Let's go make a game, okay? But yeah, I don't think we have time for that. I was thinking actually we could cancel the final exam, and that would give us a week to do and make our own games, right? Yeah. If you won't tell the CSE admin, I won't, right? Well, no, actually, I don't think I can do that. Okay, but I would love to. You know,
Yeah.
if you go and talk to the chairs and you beg them to tell me to do it, if my chairs tell me to get rid of the exam, I'll do it. Okay, but they have not yet told me to do that. So anyway, we will have an exam. All right. Okay. So, yeah, and I'd also like to have a database of all the games made with the engine as well. I think that'd be really cool. The engine is now capable of making just as good a games as, for instance, Monogame can make, or Pygame, okay? And so hopefully one day we will see some very cool stuff happen with the engine. Okay, so getting back to our main focus today, what I really, really, really want to do is I want to make a game with you. Okay, because a lot of students, right, you're doing these assignments, but you're not really getting a feel for what this engine can really do and why the engine is designed the way that it is. And so I really want to make a game with you. And fortunately, we have our Homework 7 solution right here. You know, I will even show you a little bit of the code like I have done many times before, okay? At the end of the semester, I don't want to see that this is the hardest course in the department, okay? Because I'm showing you, I'm giving it away, all right? It's just not that bad. So right now, I've got a resources folder, and you'll see it's got actually quite a few things in it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on, actually, I think I'm just going to delete all this, okay? My fun game has a resources folder that's completely empty, if I recall. We're going to go ahead and we're going to delete this resources folder, which contained our previous game, paste this one in. And now, when we run our game, do you know what's going to happen? Thank you. Nothing happened. Okay, we have a game here, and about the only thing that's useful that we've done is we've changed the title bar to my game, so it's no longer a test case number. Okay, well, I'll tell you, all of these games are rendered in this really low resolution. Why? Because that makes the image data way less bulky, and it allows the autograder to run faster, okay? But you know what I really want? I want a full screen game, 1920 by 1080. So I'm going into rendering.config. Wouldn't it be cool if we had like a full screen Boolean as well? But that's actually not what we have, because if SDL the text that you've just told it to take up the full screen, it will actually just full screen it for you. It'll assume you want that. It's kind of cool. Anyway, we got this really nasty yellow, screen. So I'd really like to get something in my game so I don't see this nasty screen. Well, I've prepared some things for you already. Now, actually, I'm willing to actually design the game with you. So you know what, right? I've got here a desert image, but what if we don't want a desert? What kind of game do you want to make? Where should we set this game? We're building this together. We're a big game studio here. What game should we make? Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot copyright.
Crash Bandicoot. So we need to find an image for Crash Bandicoot. And we need to find an image that doesn't have Crash the Bandicoot in it. Because, like, we need to have an environmental image. Crash Bandicoot level. Let's make a boulder level. Okay. And we need to get this to work for us. So I propose this. I propose the following. We're going to scrub out Crash from this image right here. Okay? So I'm going to paste this in. First of all, it's not nearly big enough. Okay? So we're going to need to, kind of triple the size of this image right here. It's going to look really nice. Oh, yeah. Okay, and now we got to get rid of Crash. So anyone know how to do this? I'm sure there's some fancy AI tool that could do this.
Do a Photoshop with the remove tool.
What is that?
This works. I couldn't.
Okay, so that's really good. Now you have to be careful. If you want it to blend in really well, you want to take another sample near the thing that you're getting rid of. So So this is going to blend in really nicely. I'm just going to get rid of the 2 characters so we can use the background. Okay, you don't want to leave the little red speck there because then people will know. Okay, so so now we have our background image, which is really great. So I'm going to click on this right here, and we're going to be all fine and dandy. And I'm going to go ahead and export this right here. So let's go ahead and just do that right there. And I'm going to not name it desert. I'm going to name it jungle, okay? And that's really good. So we're going to play as a robot in the jungle. That's what I think we're going to do. But I just created this jungle, and so our first mission is we want to render this jungle. Well, there are a few steps we have to go through to do this, okay? So what do we need to do? We got our jungle here, and we're in the resources folder, but we need something to display this jungle. If we look at our game.config, the first scene we're going to launch is this kind of default basic scene. What does it have in it? It has nothing in it. That's what it has, okay? So we need to create an actor. So we can do this, okay? We're going to create an actor, and I think the first thing I need is a name. Do I even need a name? Do I even need that? I'm going to give it a name anyway. Let's call this the background. And this actor, the only thing that really matters about actors are the components that they have. So I'm going to create a components object, okay? And how do I make this bigger so you can all see? There you go. You can all see it now. Okay? And I need to give it some components. Well, what components can I give it? Any ideas? What components do we have? I'm going to go into my components. Oh, we have none. Okay? We don't have a single component. It's a disaster. We can't do anything if we don't have any components, because components are what this engine is all about. Now, how do I create a new thing? How do I create a new thing, a new text file? Yeah, sure. I want to save this. This is going to be a new component. Okay, I'm going to save it not in the scenes folder, but in the component types folder. I'm going to call this sprite renderer.lua. Okay? And so we have our Lua file, and I'm going to call the sprite render. I'm going to create a table that's called the same name as its file name. Okay, that's what you have to do. Otherwise, our engine is going to be very angry, okay, and not work properly. It'll probably crash. That's what mine does. Okay, it'll crash Bandicoot. And if you think about what a sprite render component should do, well, we just want to draw something. Okay, we just want to draw something. So one question is, what do you want to draw? Okay, let's call it a sprite, okay? And the sprite's name by default is going to be question mark, question mark, question mark. Now, we need to draw that sprite every single frame. So here's what we're going to do. We don't want to use on start. We want to use on update, okay? And on update can be written like this, okay? And we need to put that self in there, because if we don't put self in there, then we can't access any of these lovely variables that have been configured on us, okay, on this table. And so we need to make some drawing happen. So how do we draw stuff? We know from the homework assignment spec, because I don't have any good API documentation, let's go to the image scripting API. We can see that we've got something in here called image draw UI. We don't care about that. We want to draw something in the background. How about image.draw? All it takes is the name of the image and then a location, an X and a Y. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to do draw. What do I want to draw? Well, I want to draw this sprite right here, okay? Whatever is configured for this component. And then I want to draw them at 0, 0. How about that? That's a good way to start, okay? Now, in my scene file, I can say, hey, this background game actor, this background actor, I almost said game object. I mixed them. I mixed my Unity and my Unreal lexicon here. What we want is this background actor to have one component. I'm going to give it a key of 1. Okay, that's just kind of a default thing to do if you don't care what the key is. And the type of this component is going to be a sprite renderer. And we could stop there, but we want to configure this little variable so that we don't try drawing an image called question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay, so I'm going to write sprite here, and I'm going to give it an actual name. I want to draw the jungle. Okay, not juggle, jungle. Okay, and that's all I want to do. All right, now that was a lot of work to set up our first bit of rendering, but you're going to see that as we go on, it actually takes less and less work to do interesting things. I'm going to run my game, and look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's pretty sick, okay? I'm a huge fan, and so, you know, the question is, what next? We should probably have a character, right? A playable character. Wait, if we're remaking Crash Bandicoot, then we should probably go get an image of Crash, right? So let's go get an image of Crash Bandicoot himself. And I need a PNG, though. Oh, my goodness. Look at some of these. All right. Okay. Ooh, this one's kind of cool. He doesn't have full legs, though. Is this a problem? I don't think so. Okay, I do not think so. And so what I want to do is I want to go grab this Crash Bandicoot. Look, this wonderful name. And I want to bring him into my images folder. And I'm going to rename this into Crash. Okay. And I think this is going to work super well. So how do we get him in the game? Well, what we want to do now is we want to go back to our scene file. Okay, we're going to go back to our scene file, back into that basic scene. By the way, this is a terrible name for the scene because this is the gameplay scene. Okay, this is where it all happens. So for now, we're going to launch into the scene first, but I want to have an awesome intro eventually. And then an outro and some cool ending scenes as well. So the gameplay scene is going to be our very first one. And so we're going to go ahead and launch this. We've got our lovely gameplay scene, but we don't see Crash Bandicoot anywhere. Okay? What are we going to do? What should we do? Any ideas? All of our wonderful A2 engine developers here. Yes?
Another actor.
Yeah, let's create another actor. And for that, I'm going to go into our gameplay scene. We're going to create another actor, okay? So like this. Boom, we just did it. And I'm not sure why it's doing this. It's kind of a strange thing to be doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to call this, let's call this player, okay? The player is Crash, yeah, but maybe it could be Coco one day or a different character, I don't know. We're going to give Crash Bandicoot a component because otherwise we won't be able to see him. And I want to give him a sprite render component. And we don't want him to render the jungle or the default thing. No, I want to render Crash. Okay?
You have a typo.
I've got a typo.
Spite says sprite.
Spite. What'll happen if I try and run this anyway? What's going to happen?
You will just make a component where it has a value called spike.
It crashes.
Oh, it crashed.
Yeah, it crashes. I think because we did image.draw. What happened? Why did this crash? Actor, huh? Oh yeah, it's trying to customize the component when it adds this actor, but Spite does not exist as a variable, so it gets confused. I think that's what's happening. In any case, if we rename this parameter to Sprite, hopefully it will run now.
Did you save it?
Yeah, I did save it. I definitely saved it. Yeah, what's going on here? We got a name called player. We got a components array.
Didn't give the component a key.
Oh, yeah. That's a big important thing. Components.
So you've got your components array.
Yeah, that's right. We added these properties to the components object, but we really should have added them to a component inside of it. Yeah, gotcha. Bingo. Well done. Okay, this is why you want to provide an editor so that people can't make these mistakes, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff you need to know, and you need to know the format of all this to be able to make everything work. And so... this isn't what I was thinking of. It's too big, right? So maybe I should have noticed that it was a super high-res image, but I can fix this. We can always fix it. Okay, so how are we going to fix it? Well, I'm going to go in to my Crash Bandicoot. How big should it be? Anyone know? You think it was perfect?
That's exactly how it should be.
Wow, that's huge. Okay, what about like 100 by 192? That's still pretty big, you know. Back in the day, characters used to be like 64 by, no, they used to be like 32 by 64 pixels, okay? So this is pretty luxurious still. Now I'm going to go in and play the game again. Great, this is wonderful, okay? Yes,
What is the image editor program that you're using?
GIMP. It's open source Photoshop, okay? It's great. Couldn't ask for more. Okay. So this is really, really good, but you know, this is basically just a movie at this point. So what's the problem here? What should we do next? Hey, you're my game designers. I'm just the dumb gameplay programmer. Okay? I'll build your game for you. What do you want?
The transform?
I want to, well, for what?
So that you can move things around.
Oh, you want to move things around, okay? Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great idea. Now, many things in our game are going to have this notion of having a position or a rotation even. And so we could just store the position of Crash Bandicoot as a variable in some other component. But what I actually want to do is I want to be a little bit more forward-thinking than that. I'm going to duplicate this sprite render component, and I'm going to name it the transform. It's going to be transform.lua, and in most game engines, transform is a built-in component. It isn't in our game engine, but if we distribute our game engine, we're always going to give our users a component, okay? What's up?
The 5 slightly wrong. Oh, transform instead of transform.
Should we roll?
Or you can just
Should we roll?
You have your consistent.
No, we're not going to roll. Okay, good job. Thank you for pointing that out. You could have just let it roll, and then you could have wondered how confused I was going to get. Transform, okay? So we're going to create a new transform. Now, with the transform, it's mainly meant to be a component that stores our position. So we should have an X in here, and it should not be a string, okay? 0 is a reasonable default position, okay? And what should be in our onUpdate function? Any ideas? Well, if you have gravity in your game, then maybe you care about this. But actually, our transform is super basic. It is only meant to be a holder for our position data. Okay, now maybe you put rotation in here as well. Maybe, but maybe you don't. Okay, in any case, you could also put scale in here, which isn't a bad idea. Actually, I kind of like that idea because you're never going to believe this, but I've got this plan for what I'm going to make for you. And the background being the boulder level is actually part of the plan. Okay? So what happens when someone gets smooshed? Their scale Y goes way down. That's all I'm saying. And so what I want here is for my player to have a transform so that it can move around. All right? Is that so much to ask? Well, let's go ahead and let's add that transform in. Okay? We'll add our type. And then it's okay if we just start at 0, 0, so I don't even need to specify what the X and Y is going to be. Okay? And so that's great and all, but this transform isn't going to do anything for us unless we make another change. Why? This transform is a component that holds our X and Y, but the X and Y values don't matter unless we use them. Right? So what are we going to do?
The sprite renderer needs to be able to find the transform.
Bingo! Our sprite render is just currently rendering everything at 0, 0 by default. Lame. Okay? That is useless. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have a sprite render component that will try and find and use our transform component. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this transform. I'm actually going to store the reference. Okay? I'm going to store the reference. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it here because I don't want people to think this is something they should customize. I'm going to do this. I'm going to introduce our onStart function. Okay? And I need to remember this comma right here. Okay, that comma is deadly. If you forget it, you're dead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this self.transform. This is like creating a private variable, okay? And I'm going to go get a reference to that transform component that we've got. Now, you see, if you look at this right here, our player actor has two components. The sprite render, which we're currently upgrading, and that transform. How can I write code in our sprite render that grabs the information out of our transform? Does anyone know? Well, for that, we really want to get a reference to this actor, this larger actor object that the components are on, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do self.actor. This is a variable, but that every component is guaranteed to have by default, okay? It is, if you've ever used Unity, it is the game object keyword that gives you the game object that our current component is currently on. So this is what the self.actor is doing. It's giving us this actor that our component right here is on, okay? So give me my actor that I'm currently on, and I'm going to use that actor to run a special function that the actor has. It is getComponent. What kind of component type do I want? I want the transform, okay? Bingo. What we have just done is from the sprite render, we have grabbed its sibling component right here, the transform component, and we just jammed it into this variable. So now we can use it whenever we want, like this, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a local variable called xPosition. Okay, I'm going to create another variable called yPosition, okay? And if that self.transform value is not equal, can you believe how not equal is done in Lua? Yeah, you thought I was going to do this, right? No way. You do this, you're dead. You have to do this. Okay, that's just kind of language Lua is. All right. Everyone else is zigging, so it's going to zag. Yes.
He's about to go on.
Oh, all right. Okay. Okay, so if self.transform is not equal to nil, then we're going to do some stuff, okay? We're going to set that xPosition to be equal to the self.transform .x, and we're going to also do that for the yPosition. yPosition equals self.transform .y. Now, in here, down in our final render call, we're going to use these two things. Now, what have I done here? Basically, I've made it so that this render, this sprite render function, it'll work if you've got a transform. But what if you don't have a transform? Because our background uses the sprite render, but it doesn't have a transform, right? Well, this new version of sprite render can handle both cases, okay? When you are writing components in a component architecture, you want to write components that are hardy. They'll work no matter what, okay? No matter whether there's a transform or whether there's no transform, it doesn't matter. It's going to work. Okay, and that is how you end up with a really nice code base. Well, in any case, we should run our code to make sure it doesn't explode, because I probably put a typo in here. I'm going to spend 20 minutes trying to figure it out. Okay, well, it's still working, but we're not rendering Crash Bandicoot. Okay, why aren't we rendering Crash Bandicoot? Oh, look at this, Ceph. Okay, sprite render.lua15 Ceph. Great. What keyword? What does that keyword do? And yeah, like this is why you want autocomplete. Look at now we got our boy. Our Crash Bandicoot is here. You know, everyone thought he was finished. Crash Bandicoot 4 didn't sell well. It's a great game, not a great Crash Bandicoot game. Didn't sell super well. And now he's been canceled, but now he's back, okay? Well, this is great and all, but like it's still a movie. So what should we be able to do? What do you say you wanted to be able to do earlier, game designer? You want to be able to move him. Okay, so we should do that. All right, what are we going to do to make Crash Bandicoot move? Well, we got a transform component that stores your position data. We got a sprite render that will render things for you. So we need a component that can move things based on the arrow keys, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a component called arrow key movement. Okay, and we need to go in and rename this arrow key movement. I should not have chosen to copy the transform. Transform's got nothing in it, okay? Let's rename this to arrow key movement, all right? And I want a variable called speed, okay? I'm going to call this like 0.1, and this is the speed at which we're going to move. Now, I'm going to get a reference to the transform, right? Because the transform is the thing we want to alter, okay? What are we going to do? Well, let's go ahead and calculate some movement deltas. So let's call this delta x. Okay, it's going to be 0 by default. Let's call this delta y, 0 by default. Okay, now I need to check the input. Okay, I need to know if the right arrow key has been pressed. Does anyone know what that function is called? Built-in function, super easy to use. Yeah. Why do you know the entire API and no one else does? Like, have you been using the game to make stuff?
Yeah, I looked into it.
Oh, that's cool. It's going to be get key. It's going to be right. Okay, then end. Okay. If someone's pressing the right arrow key, we're going to go delta x equals plus equals self.speed, right? 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 There's a quiz coming up. If you get this wrong, you're losing points. Yes. Bingo. Good job. It's going to be delta x plus self.speed. This language is incredible. If input.getKey, if input.getKey left, then we're going to do the other part of it. Okay, minus speed. Okay, we'll do the up now. Lots of copy and paste. Okay, up. Let's go delta y. It's equal delta y minus speed. Yes, that is up. Our engine is like Game Maker style. Okay. The first time I was amazed by this, like, oh, you have to subtract to go up. I remember being shocked by this in middle school, in 7th grade, when I first popped open Game Maker. I'm like, there's no way that up is negative. It is, and now I know why. Like, several decades later, I know why. Okay, anyway, yeah, we don't want to draw stuff here, nor do we care about this logic. Okay, yeah, I think we're good, right? Sprite render, good, okay. Are we good? Yeah, no? Oh, yeah, we're not using this stuff. We're calculating a delta variable, but we're not actually altering our transform by it. So we're going to do self.transform.x equals self.transform.x plus the delta. We'll do the same exact thing, but for the y's, okay? Okay, well, let's find out how it's going to go, okay? We've been putting together these components, and when I run this game, you know exactly what's going to happen? Nothing. Why? Exactly. So we wrote a beautiful new component, but we didn't actually say who should get this component. And if an actor doesn't have the component, then the component can't do anything. So let's go back into our scene file. We're going to go back to Crash Bandicoot, our player. We're going to add another key and another component, okay? We're going to make the type arrow key movement. And we'll make the speed like 0.1, just the default, but I have a feeling we're going to want to change this in just a moment, okay? So let's go ahead and run our game and see what happens. Rock and roll. This is actually kind of fast. Okay, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie at all. So good. Now we got one problem though. One big problem. What happens if I go off the screen? There could be some cool treasure down this pathway, but I'm never gonna get to find it. Why? Because our camera is stiff and static. Okay? That's a huge problem. All right, so what are we gonna do? What should we do? Now, in this engine, like all component-based engines, the answer to all of our problems is to create one of two things, another actor or another component. I think we should create both in this case. Let's go into our gameplay scene, and I'm going to create another actor, okay? Another actor. It's kind of a core actor. Actually, no, I will create it below Crash, so that Crash will always exist before the camera. I'm going to call this I'm just going to call this camera. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to create a component called camera. An actor called camera and a component called camera. Imagine that. So now I've created an actor called camera. I need to then create the component called camera. So let's go in and create that component. What is it going to be? Okay, let's base it on the sprite render. I'm going to call this the camera component. Okay, and the only thing I really care about here is going to be the ease factor. This ease factor is going to be 0.1. We're not going to use it for now, but we do need to, we do need to have a, no we don't. We don't need a transform on this one. This camera will have a sense of place, but we're not going to use a transform to manipulate it or deal with it. I'm just going to make this 0, and I'm going to make y 0. We're just going to store the position in here, okay? Now, what do we want to do? Well, here's the thing we want to do. Whenever Crash Bandicoot moves, we want to follow him, okay? Now, this is to say that I've got one actor, the camera. Oh, why does it look so weird? Yeah, that looks better. Okay, we've got one actor. Okay, wait a second. What? Oh, yeah, no, this should be down here. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, we got one actor, the camera, that wants to follow another actor, the player, around. So what can we do? How do we even think about this? Well, I probably want to know where the player is. If I want to know where the player is, I got to get its transform component. If I want to get its transform component, I need to get the actual actor itself first, and then we could use get component. So how can I find an actor with a certain name? Bingo! Oh yeah, actor.find. It's one of the easiest to use functions ever, okay? If you've used Unity, it's the same thing as GameObject.find, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to store my player. Let's call this player. I'm going to store it in a local variable. I'm going to do actor.find, okay? And I'm going to go look for any actor that has the name player, okay? Now, once I've got that player, well, first of all, if I don't find the player, if player is nil on this line of code, what should I do? I should bail, okay? Do nothing. So if player is equal to nil, then I'm just going to return, okay? We don't want to do any logic. If there's no player, we can't follow them around, so just do nothing, okay? So once I've got a player, if I get to this line of code, I know my player is valid. I want to next get the player's transform. So I'm going to call this player T, okay? I can do player, and I can do get component, okay? And I can get the transform component of my player, okay? And if the player does not have a transform component, what should I do? Yeah, I should bail, because there is a player, but I can't get its location, so I don't care. Just bail, do nothing, okay? By the way, this technique is called early out. One thing that's really nice about it is that you can go to the top of a function and you can see all the conditions under which the function is not valid. It's very nice and enumerated right there at the top for you. One bad thing is that if you ever care about how we return from a function, then this can get you in trouble. Yes?
The second if statement also says player instead of player T.
Yep, good job. Well done. Okay, the code would have still worked, but there would have been a subtle bug put in, right? So good job. Okay, so now I can get the actual X and Y position of the player. So, what should I do? What should I do? Well, here's what I want to do. I want to calculate a delta X. Okay, this is the amount we would need to move to match the player's location. Okay. Now, what I could do is this. I'm actually going to do this first. Camera.setPosition. Okay, I'm going to set the position to player T.x and player T.y. I think that's the function call, camera.position. I think that's going to be fine. Hopefully. We'll see. Let's go ahead and run the game. Oh, and it immediately explodes. So gameplay.scene is messed up. Did anyone see why? Okay, let's find out. It's almost certainly relating to our new camera. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, this is linked up fine. There's a comma there. That's good. We got an actor. Okay, it has a components. What?
There's a comma after camera.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Jason.
Austin, I tried so hard, but I have no idea what you intended. Okay? No. Okay. It should be able to parse this, right? Or it should just be part of the spec that there may or may not be a comma, okay? All right? Like, seriously, when you design a super important format that's going to become the standard for everything from the web to game engines to configuration files, like, you should watch the mistakes people make as they type it, right? Because they could have, like, imagine the amount of money and time and pain that the standard writers would have gotten past if they just said, hey, yeah, it's valid to have a comma there. Yes?
Of course, though, the whole thing is that comes from JavaScript, and that is invalid JavaScript code. So,
Is it still? They haven't updated it to be like, this is dumb.
Yeah, if
Yes.
you have a trailing comma, it's invalid JavaScript.
It explodes. It's like, yeah, we have no idea what you wanted. Yeah, they know exactly what we wanted. Okay? Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. Let's move around. And, oh, look at this. The camera's not working at all. Okay, why is it not working? Let's find out. I'm guessing we're going to get an error message. There we go. Set position is not a valid function. It's a nil value. Okay. Let's find out why. Okay, let's go to our camera controls. Camera.setPosition XY. Did I forget to capitalize something? Is that what happened? Camera.setPosition. Huh? What's our problem here? What's the issue? Is this nil?
Oh, do you have to use the colon instead of the dot operator?
I don't think so. This should be a global table.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do this. Debug.log. This is how I fix my Unity issues, by the way. Let's go x, just to make sure these x and y values are what we think they are, and like that. Okay. Let's try that.
Also, 2 dots to concatenate strings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'm going to go ahead and offset this to see if it's the player T reference that's the problem, or if it is the actual function call itself. If it's the function call itself, then I'm not very excited to be grading you all with this code. Yeah, there has to be something messed up. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Okay. What's going on here? Global Y. Attempt to concatenate a nil value. Oh, Y is null. Okay, that's interesting. X is not null, but Y is. Oh, of course it is null. Yeah, of course it's null. These are not values. These are the values. Okay, let's try this. Okay. Okay, and I should have made the escape key quit the program. Set position, okay, we're getting 0, 0, so that's fine. Attempt to call a nil value, the field named set position. Okay, everyone, we're going to show you some more code. Set position is a thing in here. Camera with a capital C, set position. Okay, Lua set camera position. This should definitely be a thing. In camera, did I misspell camera? Somehow?
Oh,
I don't think so.
it might be the thing where the values being passed in, are you using like pass by reference for taking in the component? Taking the parameters?
What do you mean?
If set position uses pass by reference for x and y, and you try to pass in something that the Lua script doesn't have access to changing, it just passes it as nil.
Well, don't worry about this, right? Like, this should be fine. I'm just passing in 1, 1. And, like, we can see that it's not even doing that. So it's not moving. So it does not like this particular function on it. Yes?
I don't know how the types work, but it does say they need to be floats. Like, what if you say 1.0, 1.0? Would that matter?
No, I don't think so. The problem is the function right here. We can try it. But for whatever reason, this camera has got...
Oh, it's because the name?
It's because I made a component that is the same as my table name. Wow! Rest in peace.
So I guess it's something to keep in mind that you cannot name a component camera
Yeah.
or...
Now, if this engine were industrial, and as I work more on the A2 engine, I'll probably add these features, but it should literally detect that, hey, you've got a component that is using an internal reserved keyword. You're not allowed to make a component or that is named camera. And that would point out the problem immediately to us instead of just kind of, stringing us along. Okay, so let's go back in here. I'm going to name this camera control, I think. What did I do? Is that it?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to rename it again. Okay. So let's rename this again, camera controller, and then I need to update our scene file because now it has no idea what camera means. Okay. There we go. And now let's see what happens. Hey, it's actually ajar. It's been moved. Okay, that is a super promising sign for us. Okay, so let's go back in and let's fix our component back up. Go to Resources, Component Types, Camera Controller. Okay, and let's go and get this code going again. And there we go. Let's see if we can run around as Crash Bandicoot in Crash Bandicoot 5. Amazing. Amazing. Isn't this cool? This is super cool. Okay. So there you go. Now, one thing you might say is that this game just isn't very scary. Okay. This game just doesn't have much of a purpose. Like, it doesn't have an ending. So what I'm thinking is we should introduce a boulder. We got like 18 minutes left. We should introduce a boulder. Why not? Right? I mean, this is a level with a boulder in it. Okay. Crash Bandicoot boulder. And you know what I actually want? I want to have multiple boulders that come after us. So we need a good image of the boulder because we're going to have to cut the boulder out. So let's go paste as new image. Now I'm going to add some, it looks like, add alpha channel. It looks like this is a stretched boulder, but that's actually okay. So what I'm going to do is use the lasso tool. Okay, I'm going to just grab my boulder, which is shaded not very neutrally. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let's go, what is it? Select, invert my selection, delete everything else. And then I'm going to go to select all. I'm going to go to image crop to the content. Now I've got myself just a fantastic boulder. Okay, I want this boulder to be in my images folder. So I'm going to grab the path to that. I'm going to then go back and I'm going to go and file, export as, okay, all that. Oh, it's right there. Let's call this a boulder. And these are going to be our enemies, okay, in this game. Now, I want to, at first, just create a basic boulder. But here's the thing. I know I'm going to want multiple boulders. I'm just going to create a basic boulder for now. Let's go to the gameplay scene. Let's add one more actor. Eventually, I want to do an actor template with you. Okay, I'm going to create a character. Let's call this the boulder. I'm going to create a component. Okay, components. Okay, I'm going to call this. I'm going to create a component called follow. Okay, and I'm also going to create a second component that's called crush on touch. Okay, and so I need to create these two components right here. By the way, this boulder should also have a way to know where it is. Okay, so I want to have, oh wait, this is not going to work. Hold on. Components. Okay, there you go. Okay, so the type of this component is going to be, let's call this follow, capital F, okay? And I want this component to have a type of crush on touch, okay? And then I want to have a third component that is going to be our transform component, okay? And then I want to have a component. Let's start this one at a different x and y. Let's have its x be like 7, or maybe like 5 so we can see it at the start of the game. And then we'll have its y be like -5, okay? And I want to have a final component because we won't be able to see it otherwise. We need a sprite render, right? And we need it to render a sprite of type boulder, okay? And so right now we need to create a follow and a crush on touch component, otherwise our game will break. So let's go in real quick and just create those really in a default way. Let's go into, something like, let's go with something like arrow key movement. Let's call this follow. Okay, I'll go in real quick to just name this follow. Blah, 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 do we care about that? Yes, we do. Yes, we'll have this, we'll have this. Yep, we'll have all that. So I'll comment this out so it doesn't break. Okay, all good. And then I want to have, we'll make it a little bit slower than Crash Bandicoot by default when you follow people. And I want to have another component. I want this component to be called Crush on Touch. Okay, this is a component, I hope I can write it. This is going to be our collision detection component. And let's call this distance needed to crush. Okay, we need to know where we are. We need to know what our delta is with Crash Bandicoot to decide if we want to crush him or not. And there we go. So let's go ahead and run our game and see if everything blows up. Yeah, it does. Okay, gameplay.scene is broken. So let's go back into that. That's why Lua was or JavaScript was kind of a tough choice. Let's go to camera controller. This looks fine. This looks fine. Name boulder. Okay. Components. This is valid. That's not valid. Okay, this is valid. This is valid. Was that the only thing we're missing? Only thing? I think it was. So let's go ahead and run the game. And it broke up, blew up again. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do cheat code this time. Go to JSON editor online. Okay, and it will tell me where the awful stuff is. Okay, repair. Where's the broken sprite render? Oh, I don't have a key. I don't have a type key here. There we go. So let's do this. Type, sprite render, and there you go. All these mistakes are just kind of making it clear that, yeah, it really is valuable to have an editor. We now have a boulder right here. That's awesome, okay? Super, super cool. We can even go behind it, which is kind of neat, get crushed by it. Now, the boulder isn't doing exciting things for us, right? We really want this boulder to go and actually follow us around, okay? So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get the player's location, okay, in order to calculate how much we want to move. So let's go ahead and go local player t, okay? I want to go actor.find. I want to find that player, okay? And then I want to get its transform component, okay? Okay, and now what we can do is we can calculate local or delta x and delta y. Let's do this. Let's go player t minus self.transform dot x. Okay, and we'll add dot x down here. We're going to do the same thing for y. Okay, all right, just like that. And now what we can do is we can say, hey, you know, if player, first of all, if player t is nil, if the player is killed, then yeah, we're just going to blow up. Anyway, we'll just end the game if the player gets killed. Okay, so if let's see, if delta x is larger than 0, then we want our movement to be kind of like this. Okay. Delta x, no, we don't want to jump all the way there. So let's go self.speed. How about that? Okay, so that is if the player's to the right of us. This is if the player's to the left of us. Okay, and we can actually just test this now to see if we're on the right track. Okay, so the boulder is going to kind of run to us on the x-axis. We want the boulder to run to us on both axes. Okay. So let's go ahead and get back in there, and then we'll do this, but for y. Okay, so if delta y is larger than 0, then we need to go down. Okay, so that is fine right there. And if delta y is smaller, then we need to go up, so we are subtracting it. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out and run our engine. Okay, so now our boulder is like chasing us around, okay? Now, if you're using vectors, you can get this to look a bit better, okay? Because right now, when it runs on the diagonal, it actually runs faster than normal. But the boulder's chasing us around and just killed us, just flattened us like a, okay? And what I want to do now is, this is really cool, but I want the game to end when the boulder touches us, okay? So we need a bad ending. Can we get like a Smash Bandicoot image here? Crash Bandicoot Boulder Smash. Okay. Smash. Where's like an image of Crash getting smashed?
I thought you were just gonna scale down by
There's one of Coco. Well, I want to scale him down, but I want to have a bad ending because I want to show you scenes. Okay, here we go. This is good enough. Okay, we're going to have this image with the VTuber in there. Let's go. Where's GIMP? What happened to GIMP? Did it close? Did it close? No, it's right here. So let's go ahead and paste this image as a new image. How big is this image? Is it big enough to cover our entire screen? It's not. So we're going to need 1920 by 1080 for sure. Okay? And there you go. Let's go ahead and save this image now. Export it. Let's call this bad end. Okay? And there we go. This export's kind of slow. What I want to do is I want to create a new scene. Okay, we've got this gameplay scene that we launch into, and I want to have a new scene, a brand new one. So I'm going to copy the scene. I'm going to call this bad end scene. Okay, and I only want to have one actor in this scene. Okay, maybe I'll have a second actor to play some music or something, but I'm going to create one actor. I'm going to name it bad end background. Okay, and all I want it to have is one component, really. Components. Let's give it a component one. Let's call this component of type sprite render, and I want it to just render that sprite, which is the bad end. Okay, that's all I want. All right, and I could also put in like a component that plays some music, and I could define what music I want to play. I've only got 8 minutes though, and I want to do some other fun stuff. So now what we need to do is we need this. We need this boulder, which has the crush on touch component, to load that new ending. So I want to calculate a distance. Now I could do this using like the Pythagorean theorem or something, but no, I'm just going to calculate a box distance, okay? So let's go local delta x, okay, equals, I don't know. Let's actually get the player, okay? Let's get local player t equals actor.find. Okay, let's get that player. Let's go ahead and get its transform component. Get component transform. Okay, that's the player t. By the way, if this is missing, player t equals nil, then we want to just return and not do anything. Otherwise, we'll explode. The assumption down here is that this player t is valid. So let's go self.transform.x minus player t.x, and I want the absolute value here. Okay, I think it is math that hold on a second. Lua math abs. Okay, what is it? Math.abs. Oh, it's lowercase. Okay, there we go. Okay, so take the absolute value here, and then let's do the same thing on the y-axis, math.absolute value, self.transform.y minus player t.y. And we're going to go, hey, if the delta x is smaller than 1, and, is it and or and, the ampersand? I think it's just this. Delta y, is it ampersand?
I thought it was just and.
Yeah, okay. 1.0. Then, okay. Then we're going to consider you to have smushed Crash, okay? Scene dot load, is that the API? Okay, scene dot, yep, it is right down here, okay? Scene dot load, and we're going to load that bad end scene. All right, and so let's go ahead and play our fantastic game. Uh-oh, we got an issue. What's the issue?
I think you called it bad end scene.
Problem with Lua file crush on touch. There's an issue with our Lua file, crush on touch. So what's the issue? What's the issue? Okay, here's another pro tip. Compile Lua online. Run it. Error near 1 point. Oh, I put an F. I'm in the Unity mode. Oh, okay. Brutal. Okay, we're running. Watch out. Whoa. Oh, and it crashes. Bad end dot scene has an error parsing issue.
So you only put in bad end.
I think the scene itself is called bad end scene dot scene.
Bad end dot scene. There's an error parsing the JSON, so it's just the JSON I put in here is messed up.
Background.
Background? What? Name, components, type, sprite. Where's the Lua verifier? Again, I closed it. I need it back. Lua editor online. Okay.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're editing in, you need to give it a
What kind of
verifier.
what the?
Go one tab to your left.
No, that's for Lua editing. I want JSON editing. I lied. Okay. So there's a comma, got colon. What? Oh, I didn't put it in an object. This needs to be inside of an object, like this.
Oh, it needs to be an object.
Yes, it is an array of objects, not an array of properties. Okay, that's not a thing in Lua. That's not a thing. Okay, great, right? I actually kind of like this. I don't know. And so this is really cool. This is super cool. But our big problem here is that I want more boulders to spawn over time. And so what I want to do is I actually want to take this boulder, and then the next 3 minutes, we'll do it, don't worry. Boulder, I want to take this, and I actually want to create a new file. Okay, I'm going to create this boulder right here. Yup, that is the whole thing. And I'm going to get rid of it, actually. I'm going to get rid of this comma. I'm going to go to File, New Text File, and I'm going to paste this in. We now have a boulder that is reusable, okay? Because what we just created here is actually going to be an actor template, okay? So this is going to be called boulder.template, I think, right? And so now what I want to do is I want to have an actor in my gameplay scene that's name is going to be called the game manager, okay? And I want to have components on it. I want to have a component that's going to be called the game manager, okay? Let's do this, type, and really the only thing it's going to keep track of is spawning boulders. Let's call this game manager, and I need to go create a component called game manager, arrow key movement. Let's call this the game manager. And now I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to game manager. Okay. I don't care about this. All right. I don't care about this stuff. Okay. What I do care about is every application dot get frame. Okay. Every 120, every 2 seconds, I'm going to spawn another boulder to chase me. So actor.instantiate, and I want to instantiate a boulder, okay? I think that's what I named it. I didn't give it a capital B, did I? Actor template boulder, no, there it goes. And so this is what's going to happen. Now let's make sure that we're spawning boulders here. Okay, is it going to explode?
It's average get frame number.
Incredible. Look at this worm. There's a worm chasing me.
You made 3D.
Looks 3D.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Okay, that's really cool. So wait a second. What did I mess up? Let's go here.
Get frame number.
Oh, yeah, equals 0. Okay, so I actually want this to be 180. It's going to spawn boulders every once in a while. Let's go ahead and go in, and there we go. 1 and 2, and right, this is turning. Oh, and I got crushed. Okay, and so there you go. Right, you can see how step by step you can build up a much more advanced, more interesting game. This is very similar to how people do it in an engine like Unity. Now, in Unity, the main difference is that they have a nice, beautiful editor So you can't make all the like little typo issues that I was making. A lot of those get knocked out by having a UI say, hey, here's a clickable list of all the components you can add to this actor, okay? And you cannot mistype that. You don't do any typing, all right? But you can see here, right, that our engines really are the real deal. And I will tell you, there's probably nothing better for your final exam, well, your midterm exam technically, than going in and making a game. As you make more and more games, you will memorize more and more of the syntax of how Lua works. You will figure out how to do things, like create a global variable versus a local variable. You will figure out how to use your APIs much better, and you will get a feel for what is an actor versus what is a scene, versus what are the components that go on an actor, and how can I implement gameplay mechanics where one character deals with or impacts another. Okay? You might even be forced to write collision detection like AABB. All of these things would be a fantastic practice for the kind of things you'll need to do on your final exam. On the final exam, you're going to have to know a bunch of stuff about various engines. You'll have to know how to write Lua and how to write Lua that can manipulate the different features of an engine. Right? Writing one component that interacts with a bunch of other ones, okay? And you will also get a better feel for how wonderful these lifecycle functions are, like on start, on update, on destroy. On destroy is a function you won't have to write until homework 8, by the way. Anyway, when we get to final exam week, that's going to be my main recommendation. Go make a little tiny game that week. Doesn't have to be that crazy. It could just be something like this, and you'll start to get a feel for how this engine works. You'll start to move very fast, and then once the exam shows up, you'll be like, "Oh, this thing you're asking me to do on paper is actually super easy. I made it for the game, right? The little game that I made for myself, and so you just boom, knock it out, done, right? Easy." Because on that exam, you will lose a tiny amount of credit if you mess up syntax issues. You won't lose all the credit, but you'll lose a tiny bit, okay? We do want you to know Lua at least enough to know the difference between using dot and using colon to call a function, okay? Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope this was at least a little bit entertaining and a little bit useful from an academic perspective. As you implement your homework 7, you are bringing all these wonderful functions like getComponent, like actor.find to life. You are making it so that I can call scene.load and I get rid of all my existing actors and all their components, and I just load up a fresh batch of them, okay? Getting a feel for overriding the properties and variables of a component so that I can use that component on many different actors, okay? Anyway, I will be around here for the next 2 hours, all right? And if you've been having issues on homework 7, it is time to check those out, okay? And Evan, I'm going to start first with you because I'm very curious about C3, okay? All right, I will see you all later. Take care.
Should we make a queue?
Yeah, go ahead and write a Q on the whiteboard. Put your names down in a orderly fashion.
Where's the